Alright, here's how to get anyone to do anything for you. This is just a quick disclaimer. What I'm about to share with you is extremely powerful, so please use it for good.
Broken heart, tear me down, light the fires.
There's a really interesting principle called the principle of induction. It states that when you tell someone what they are, they basically become more of it. When a hypnotist puts someone under, they tell them it's cold and the person under hypnosis feels cold. The hypnotist doesn't tell the person what to be. The hypnotist instead tells the person who they are. And this is induction. When a mom tells their son, oh, it's okay, you're just shy, this causes the son to become more shy. She's telling the son who he is. It's even more powerful if the mother says to someone else in front of the son, oh, he didn't ask because he's shy. This is reaffirming to him who he is. If you want your significant other to do more of something, maybe to be more caring, when they have little moments of being caring, make sure you tell them who they are. You are so caring. And they subconsciously become more of this. And you only want to use this for positive attributes.
What if I told you you're probably more attractive than you'd think? Here are 3 signs to prove that. Number 1 is when people compliment you, but without showing much emotion. Just give a compliment and that's that. Like, it's not really too much. That's a really good sign. It's because that person already knows that you're attractive. Like, that's a thing already in their mind. They took it for granted. Like, it's easy. It's almost like it's obvious to them. Number 2, when you're outside and random people are trying to make eye contact with you, that's a good thing. So many people get insecure and afraid and all this crazy emotions. Like, bro, this is all self-imposed. That's a good thing. Random strangers are trying to make eye contact with you. You're winning. You're in. Okay? And lastly, number 3, people naturally raise their eyebrows without even realizing it when they're in front of someone that they like. You know what I mean? So, like, look at the eyebrows. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Big shout out to Day One Crane One Franklin. You already know. 3 psychology tricks to instantly command more respect. All right, number 1 is to be comfortable and literally just take up the space that you want to take up. That's it. Here's an example of someone that isn't comfortable. This is an example of someone that is. I'm chilling. I'm relaxing. I'm taking up the space that I want and I'm waiting. You know. Number 2 is to share your imperfections and flaws. Here's the big secret that nobody tells you about. They don't judge your imperfections. People judge how you handle your imperfections. So be open, be comfortable, and just show everyone that you don't care. You know, this is you and that's okay. And number 3, very important in a group setting, don't allow yourself to be cut off. What you have to say is very important. So here's an example. So I just saw this really cool thing
I just wanted to say that,
I realized that
Psychology tricks to make your life so much easier. Ever had a song stuck in your head that for the life of you will not go away? Well, think about the end of the song, not the beginning or middle, because whenever your brain registers the song as being complete, it will be released from your mind. Next up, do you have a bet placed on rock, paper, scissors? Because I got you. Before the game starts, ask your opponent a completely random question. What's your favorite vegetable? They're going to be like, what the fuck? And then while they're overthinking that, throw rock, paper, scissors, okay? As soon as they throw it, they are 98% likely to throw scissors. Therefore, you choose rock. Next up, do you want someone to open up to you more? Here's what you're going to do. You're going to ask them a question. More than likely, they're going to respond with the bare minimum. But if you want someone to spill more detail, stare at them. Just like this. You're just going to stare at them straight in the eyes. After a while, they're going to get a little uncomfortable, but they will continue in more detail. Like for part 2. Psychology tricks to make your life so much easier. Number 1, remembering people's names actually make them like you more. Therefore, those with better name memory skills tend to be more liked and popular. Number 2, your first date with someone should be something filled with adrenaline, and here's why. Adrenaline rushes stimulate arousal in the brain, which leads the person that you're with to believe that they're having a fantastic time with you. Number 3, okay, I use this one all the time. Yes, it works, and this is how you tell if someone is staring at you. What you're going to do is you're going to fake a yawn. Even if you don't have to yawn, just do it anyway. But do not make eye contact with the person because that will throw the whole thing off. And as long as you are not making eye contact with them, their natural response if they're staring at you will be to yawn also. So after you finish your yawn, you look over at the creepy dude staring at you and you see if he's looking. Like this shit if you want more.
Psychological tricks that will change your life. Part 18. If you give someone a random item in your hand while speaking with them, they'll take it without thinking about it. LeBron is way better than Michael Jordan. Dude, you are crazy.
Sneaky psychology tricks that you wish you knew. If you make the biggest smile you can, even if it's forced, you'll automatically feel happier. When negotiating a raise or the sale of a car, flinch visibly at the first offer. This makes people often lowball their initial offer. If you ask for someone to do a small, doable favor, it automatically tricks their brain into thinking they like you. If you're about to do something nerve-wracking like a class presentation, make sure you bring some gum with you. Our brains don't think we're in danger when we're eating, so your nerves will go away. And finally, for the perfect first date, do something that gets the adrenaline up, like watching a horror movie or going on a roller coaster. This makes your date think that they enjoy spending time with you instead of the activity itself.
Sometimes I like to tell unfunny jokes on purpose just to see who's gonna laugh. That way I can tell who has a crush on me. If somebody's ever like, hey, we need to talk, you need to be like, yeah, we do. That way, you're both stressed out. If you upload all your photos on Tinder upside down, the person's gonna have to flip their phone around to see you and realize that you're fucking ugly. So they're gonna swipe left, but actually they're gonna swipe right and you just gotta match.
5 interesting psychology facts about life. Number 1. Having bad handwriting is a sign of intelligence. It's because your hand can't keep up with your brain. Number 2. The average time that someone can keep a secret for is 2 to 3 hours. Number 3. When someone dies, they dream for about 7 minutes. Number 4. Good morning and good night texts activate the part of the brain responsible for happiness. Number 5. Doing things that scare you will make you happier. Follow for part 2.
Here are some psychology hacks to get your crush to like you from your fellow... I don't even know how to describe myself. And the hack that I got for you guys today is going to create a subconscious bond between you two. It's like a psychology trick that promotes bonding, which is called the chameleon effect. If you don't know what it is, the chameleon effect is basically mimicking someone else's body movement. So like they do this and you do the same thing, but obviously really subtly, and it's a legit thing in psychology.
Alright, here are 3 simple psychology tricks that actually work. Alright, so this dot represents the start of the day and all the way here represents the end of the day. Okay, so this is like your entire day. Now humans tend to blur out the middle part of the day and they remember the beginning and the end of the day. If you have a job interview, a very important one, schedule the interview at the beginning or the end of the workday. Why? Because you'll stand out from all the people that did their interviews here, because the guy most likely just won't remember them. They'll remember you because you're at the start or the end. Does that make sense? Have you ever been in a situation where a creep is just looking at you? All you have to do is just stare at their shoes. Literally just keep staring, don't stop. Eventually this guy's gonna get creeped out. The creep is gonna get creeped out and he's gonna stop staring at you. Alright, people have egos, okay? If you want someone to do something for you, target their ego. Tell them, actually, never mind, I don't think you can do it. If you question their capabilities, then they're gonna wanna do it even more. Alright, bonus trick number 4. If the people that are watching this video, just click a bunch of buttons and I'll get influence, which means I'll be able to take over the tri-state area. Don't tell Perry the platypus though.
Quick psychology test. How fast is your brain? Try this. Name the color of each font. Too easy? Try this. If that was much harder and you needed to pause, then you just experienced the Stroop effect. One explanation for this is that your brain can read a word faster than it can label a colour. If you want to see more on this, then check out my Instagram post.
3 powerful psychology hacks, part 5. 1. When someone says something you already know, say, you're right, instead of, I know. This makes you appear less of a know-it-all. 2. When asking for something, say, I need your help. People like feeling needed. 3. Instead of saying, do you have any questions, say, what questions do you have for me? They'll be more comfortable to ask.
Psychology tricks that I learned in my general psych class last year that I know work because I use them. People tend to get really uncomfortable in silence and they subconsciously try to fill this by talking. This works especially well if you're in a verbal altercation with somebody and they're kind of being an ass. Just don't say anything. Let themselves dig a deeper hole and listen to the word vomit spew out of their mouth. You can tell which one of your friends likes who by just paying attention a little bit more. If you're in a group and something funny happens or somebody tells a joke, people tend to be laughing while looking at the person they like most. I also want to apologize in advance if you do this and you notice that nobody's making eye contact with you. This last one helped me out a lot when I worked in customer service. If somebody is yelling at you or being a dick, just be like, excuse me, you have a little something in your teeth. This makes them feel very self-conscious and it stops them in their tracks every time. If you guys like this, I'll do a part 2.
Alright, here are 5 simple psychology tricks that always work. If you constantly forget where you put things, just point at the object and say where it is out loud. You won't forget it. So for example, the apple is on the chair. See, now I won't forget it. Number 2, by far the sauciest secret. If you want something done, stop saying could you. I don't want to hear that no more. Stop saying could you please put the pizza in the fridge. Instead, just remove could you entirely and say please put the pizza in the fridge. That's it. It's cheese. That's it. That's all you gotta say. Number 3, if you want to build a relationship with someone at work or at school or wherever, just ask them to explain something to you that you already know. Just trust me, it works. You're gonna be winning, you're chilling. Number 4, if you've ever wanted someone to feel awkward talking to you, like super awkward, literally stare right here. Bro, they're gonna be like, what are you doing? Lastly, number 5, if you're talking to someone and they're avoiding answering a question and you know it, really just make a pause in the conversation. Just stop talking and stare at them. That's it. They're gonna feel awkward and then they're gonna keep talking.
How to manipulate people using their eyes, part 1. So in order to do this, you need to determine whether a person is kinesthetic, auditory, or visual. And you do this by looking at their eyes. If a person looks a lot up, then they're a visual person. If they kind of look to the sides, like in the middle, then they're auditory. And if they look down a lot, they're a kinesthetic person. So this will tell you what kind of language you need to use in order to connect to them. If they're a kinesthetic person, you need to use words like feel, heavy, energy, talk in their kinesthetic language. If they're auditory, use words like hear or did you hear what happened, it was really loud. And if they're visual, say something like did you see what happened, or talk about colors, talk about visual things. Talking in a person's language will get them to trust you and you can manipulate them easier.
Psychological tricks that will change your life. Part 7. If you whisper to somebody, they will whisper back, even if they're...
Psychology tricks to get your crush to like you back. So if you don't want to be single anymore, I recommend you save this video. Let's get into it. Ask them for small favors, and it will trick their brain into liking you more, because we do favors for people that we like. When you're talking to them, drop their name in the conversation. Hearing your name has an effect on the brain that will make them more interested in the conversation. Use eye contact. Eye contact is a huge factor when falling in love. And lastly, talk about them. It's been found if you talk about them, they will trust and like you a lot more.
Hi, I have another psychology test for you. Remember, don't overthink your questions. It's supposed to help your subconscious mind speak to you. Your answers don't have to be logical at all. I literally had a mountain speaking to you. But this one, be ready. It's going to tell us some things about your relationship with other people. Okay, imagine you're just waking up and it's a very special day. It's your birthday. You immediately grab your phone and you see that there are tons of text messages from people wishing you happy birthday. Now, as you're scrolling through these messages, who sends you the longest and sweetest message? The person you think of here is someone you kind of take for granted. Not in a bad way, but you're just sure of their feelings for you. But then you also received a message from someone you didn't even think remembered your birthday. Okay, I'm sorry to say, but the person you're thinking of here is someone you wish cared about you more, but you know deep down they don't really. Follow me for more tests.
Alright, here's how to get anyone to do anything for you. This is just a quick disclaimer. What I'm about to share with you is extremely powerful, so please use it for good. Have you ever wondered why people say history repeats itself? Well, it's because people make the history, and human behavior is extremely predictable. And this right here is exactly how you're going to be able to get anyone to do anything for you. So if you wanted Bob to do something for you, you just have to do 5 things. And these 5 things works for everyone, because human nature just doesn't change. That's just the way the world works. Here it is. The first point is people do anything for those that confirm their suspicions, throw rocks at their enemy, encourage their dreams, justify their failures, and lastly, allay their fears. So for example, I'll do it for Bob right now, just in front of you guys real quick. Hey Bob, I just want you to know that the government is against you. Biden is against America. I love the fact that you're trying to build that system. And just so you know, you're a failure because the government's against you.
Psychological tricks you can use right now to make your life so much easier. When you get in an argument with someone and they begin to raise their voice, remain calm. This is going to force the other person's brain to start to think that maybe they're in the wrong because they're yelling and you're just acting like nothing horrible is going on. I use this one all the time, so trust me, it does work. Here's an easy tip on how to become extremely popular. When you get a new environment, whether it's a new school or a business place, always go out of your way to remember everyone's name. And then once you remember everyone's name, start to address them by that even when you're just walking by. Be like, hey Bill, hey Jonathan, what's going on? This is because for whatever reason as humans, when we hear people address us by our names, it makes us feel really happy. And people are going to start to associate that happy feeling with you. thus overall making you a more popular person among your community. But do not do this with your significant other. Finally, if you see a fight's about to break out, try to get to the side of the person who seems to be the most aggressive. This is because anger gives people insane tunnel vision and you'll be out of the way.
Psychology tricks that will work on anybody, part 3. When you wanna get away with something not that good, walk into a place or out of a place like you own it. Don't stop and don't look around. 9 times out of 10, nobody will question you. You can get away with lots of things this way. If you wanna know if someone's checking you out in public place, try this one. First of all, turn sideways from them. Then in an obvious way, look at your watch. Then point at your watch and nod thoughtfully. You can even overreact if you want to. If they were watching you, they will have a sudden urge to know the time, and they will check their watch or phone.
3 sneaky psychological tricks that you must know. The first one is the use of one word. The word because. In Robert Cialdini's book, he talked about a study with printers. Those aligned to use the printing machine. Somebody would come up in line and ask, "Can I cut you?" 60% of the time, the person ahead of them said yes. But when the person added the word because with the reason following, the amount of yeses went from 60% to 94%. Can I cut you a line because I'm late for an appointment? The second trick deals with commanding respect. Occasionally when you're talking, you may get that person that decides to randomly interrupt you, and they try to talk over you. Most people in that situation just stop talking. They don't finish their point. But the next time someone decides to interrupt you, just keep talking. Finish what you were going to say. It's gonna make that person second guess themselves on why they interrupted you. The third one is a little study by Ben Franklin, and that is if you are trying to build rapport with somebody, simply ask them for a small favor. If you're sitting next to them, "Hey, do you mind passing the salt for me?" And he found that if people do you a small favor, then they are rationalizing in their head that they must already like you or else they wouldn't be doing you this favor.
Psychological tricks to lose weight right now. If you hate the gym, start taking more walks, bike riding, or doing things you enjoy. Since you enjoy it, you'll burn more calories, because it'll distract you from focusing on, "I gotta burn more calories."
What they doing, keep on doing that.